Hey, you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the north, more specifically, Ocean City, Maryland. And more specifically than that, we are outside of Ripley's, believe it or not, here on the boardwalk. Now, I have been to all of the Ripley's within the continental United States, and I wanted to kind of go back and take a second look at a lot of them. With Ripley's, they changed their exhibits, they changed their layouts, so it's always fun to stop back in when I'm in the area and see what Ripley's has to offer. So please follow me as we take a look through Ripley's, believe it or not, here in Ocean City, Maryland. We have a car part rhinoceros. You can see the world's largest man here wearing a bib and covered in crabs. The giant megalodon mouth here. So we head up the stairs. There is a portrait of Dean Cain in gumballs. I believe Dean Cain, he was the host of the Ripley's Believe It or Not show in the 90s. Of course, the 80s version had Jack Palance. You can see the inner workings, that giant shark that pokes its head over the boardwalk, that iconic shark here, Ocean City, Maryland. They also have a giant marlin head, giant marlin replica. There's a somewhat deformed two-headed calf skeleton. Got a genuine chunk of the Berlin Wall here. Parked right in front is this tiny little smart car, I guess you'd call it. Can you roll your tongue? Let's see. I can do this. I can touch the end of my nose with my tongue as well. All sorts of fascinating things in these cabinets, including the Mona Lisa painted on a bean. Oh yeah. Can you imagine eating a big bowl of beans and they all have Mona Lisa painted on them? That's the height of luxury. I have a hologram of Ripley there.
Please come in. I'm so glad you'll be able to see some of the unbelievable things I've collected.
Some international items here: the Tibetan monkey skull bowl, Indonesian cockfighting spurs, and a Japanese geisha girl wig. It's an example of what a Chinese bound foot looks like. It's an ancient practice where they're actually bind the feet of women and cause them to be small and disformed. This rhinoceros head here actually was hung in the living room of Robert Ripley, which is pretty amazing. This is a sculpture of Robert Ripley made by a blind sculptor who would touch his face in order to replicate it. So feeling this, you can feel exactly what the artist felt when they were touching Robert Ripley's face. This is amazing. A 5-legged alligator, so it grew to full size, but it had 5 legs, 2 fully formed legs right there on that side. Pretty amazing. This is a West African voodoo fetish figure. Said that this was owned by a healer. You can see it's got all sorts of interesting things tied to it: shells, bull horns, like smaller figures. A 2-headed car tire lion, because a 1-headed car tire lion just wouldn't be sufficient. I have an albino cobra down there, and there's another albino cobra entrenched in battle with its arch nemesis, the mongoose. The cobra and the mongoose, they have been going at it, trying to kill one another since the beginning of time. Now we have our shrunken head here, the Ocean City shrunken head. Of course, every Ripley's must have at least one shrunken head. So I've been to every Ripley's in the United States, and they've all had shrunken heads, except one time. I forget which Ripley's it was. I almost wonder if it was this Ripley. I went to one Ripley's and they didn't have a shrunken head, but it turns out that the shrunken head had went to a job fair. They had a local job fair, and they brought their shrunken head with them to the job fair as part of their display. And they apologized to me that the shrunken head wasn't in today. Here is the legendary Robert Ripley penny smasher. You can get a penny made. Let's get this. They actually have this building that we're in, this Ocean City building with a shark on it. Let's get a penny made. Of course,
Hello,
I can't.
Friend.
Oh,
Commemorate your visit with a pressed penny.
I will. I was about to say, yeah, it's a theme with me that I get these pressed pennies, and often I lose them before I get home. So let's hope that we can actually hang on to this one for a change. Let's give Robert his cash here that he requires.
There's an official name for pressed coin collectors.
Oh yeah?
They're called exonuma. Believe it or not.
Exonuma. There he goes. All right, I will hold on to this with my life, and hopefully it will make it back home with me. Spooky section here. We have the Premature burial tomb. Back when they used to put windows on graves so you can check and make sure the person's still dead. I don't know, does that person look dead to you? Uh-oh, I think he's alive because his eyes are open. And we got some fun gravestones here. Of course, the classic Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more. See that repeated a lot in different theme parks, but it's actually a real grave in Tombstone, Arizona. R.I.P. Here lies an atheist, all dressed up, and no place to go. I expected this, but not so soon. And then here we have a wicker coffin. It says these would be used for burials at sea. So they throw them in the coffin, throw it in the water, and then it would fill with water, and they would sink to the bottom. You can see the torture chair there. It's covered in these metal spikes, but that'd be very uncomfortable to try to sit and watch TV in. You can see the skeleton here. Either this is a mock-up done for medical students, or this person had suffered an incredible amount of injuries over their life. You see the spine has been repaired, they have a hinge on their elbow, and pretty much everything's been replaced at some point, it looks like. There's an American Civil War surgeon's kit. All sorts of fun ways to penetrate the human body in there. And there's the good doctor. This is a mysterious voodoo curse box. So they believe this was used as a kit to curse people. You can see all the strange items there inside, bones, potion items. Then there's a vampire killing kit. No mystery here. That's just used for killing Dracula. There's a hand-painted vampire bat. It's on one wing. It looks like JFK. And then I think the other wing has Bill Clinton. Oh, this is something cool. I've not seen this before. This is the door from Psycho. Apparently this was used as a prop in the original 1960s Alfred Hitchcock movie, Psycho. Said this was used in interior shots of the home. Oh, that's pretty cool. The torture section here, the English man trap. That looks big enough to catch a man. Is that, well, that's a torture mask. You just put that over someone's head and they just hate it because it's so uncomfortable. And this is called a gibbet. It's like a cage for your body. Man, torture is so mean. These are ossuary skulls placed in a cave in Austria, reserved for relics of holy people. You can see the carvings and paintings on their heads. We have a genuine trepanny skull. You can see there, it's got a hole burrowed in it. This is an ancient form of surgery that some people still practice today, where they believe that just putting holes in your skull just gives your brain more room to breathe and is Allegedly beneficial. Don't do that. Don't drill a hole in your skull. I promise you it'll cause more problems than it'll fix. Alright. Got the stock photo op. Actually don't. My head does not even come close to fitting in there. But let's see what the crimes are. Impure thoughts. Didn't believe it. That's the biggest sin here at Ripley is if you don't believe it. What does that say? Final scam.
I am Zoltar.
Sorry, Zoltar. Robert Ripley got my last dollar. Some ancient Egyptian items in here. Underneath that mummy, there's actually a mummified falcon. Oh, look at that. They also have a mummified foot and a mummified hand. There's a car part sculpture of Captain America there. Up there we have a fairy made out of plastic clothespins and just a big giant ball of string. Entering the oddities section. Because we are in Ocean City, we have Beach Bum Wadlow. Edward Hagner, the world's thinnest man, he's going snorkeling. And here wearing swim trunks is the lizard man, Eric Sprague. Now, they have different statues of him in other Ripleys, but I noticed this one's a little different. You know, he spent his whole life converting himself to be a half lizard, and so it's progressed over time. But this looks like an early version of Eric. You can actually see a lot of the areas not colored in yet, and so I guess this is a early version of the lizard man. One of the world's largest men, Walter Hudson, wearing a sarong. The giant operation board here called the Human Ostrich. Why is it called the Human Ostrich? The ostriches eat a bunch of metal junk. But anyways, we gotta try to get this stuff. We got a little chain. Got a fork. Just a stopwatch. I keep hitting the sides, I think. Oh wow, an amazing collection of freak animals in here. This may be the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've seen deers that have died. They're locked their horns together, but here is 3 deer that locked their horns in a 3-way battle, locked their horns together and died. That's nuts. There we have an adorable little 2-headed rabbit, as well as an adorable 2-headed goat. We have 3-legged duck. Oh, look at the little 2-headed lamb. It's so cute. It's a German Wolpertinger, which is a relative of the jackalope that often is just different parts of different animals put together. I don't even know. That's a crow with like a weasel body. I don't even know what kind of body that is. Pretty wacky. There's a 5-legged, 2-tailed fox. Man, chaos really does reign. There's a cart that's actually pulled by a chicken. We have a 2-headed calf there. And an 8-legged buffalo. But all his legs aren't down there. Some of them are just hanging off of his back. He's talking about the white squirrel, capital of the world, saying it's Marionville, Missouri, but I know that's actually contested. I also have Brevard, North Carolina, and there's a town in Illinois as well. They all claim to be the white squirrel capitals of the world. We have a presidential hair collection, both Abraham Lincoln's hair right there, and then JFK's hair right there. I say we clone them both and make them both co-president. There is some prehistoric mammoth hair. Let's clone that too. I want to see JFK and Abraham Lincoln ride a mammoth. They're blasting a little bit of copyright music in this room, but it's an Arctic themed room. We have a walrus, plus some other Arctic animals, and they're blasting the air conditioning as well. We got a polar bear. We have some penguins, as well as a narwhal, and a rare white moose. I don't think I've ever seen a white moose before. It's pretty cool. Here's some more car part sculptures, and they're of everyone's 2 favorite Star Wars characters, Darth Vader and a droid. Now, I went back and checked my video from 3 years ago, and Yeah, this robot still sits here with no explanation. Looks like a Johnny Five inspired robot. No explanation, just sitting in a dark corner here by himself. I want an explanation. This is a spacesuit actually worn by Buzz Aldrin, which is straight up insane. And on the other side of the fence, you have this cosmonaut suit. And in this dark corner, we have a very spooky little alien. As we walk past this surfboard here, we see a woman hanging on the beach. But if you walk past the surfboard, she has vanished into the ocean. Entering the ocean room here. So the giant sturgeon right there, and you can see one of my favorite pieces of taxidermy, the fur-bearing trout from Lake Superior. And look at that two-tailed trout. According to that sign here, this hammerhead shark belonged to John Entwistle, the bass player for The Who. Interesting. Of course, a classic feature of Ripley's, the photo op gag. You walk along here, you're like, oh, this young couple is taking photos, so I will not walk here, I will wait for them and let them finish, and then you realize, oh, they're wax figures, and I'm standing here like a moron. So I will pass through. Thank you, I appreciate. Oh no, he was real after all. Just snapped a picture. It says that this is the largest great white shark ever caught, but what British rock musician did he belong to? And here's the Cuban eye popper, Albino Matas, just sitting back and relaxing next to a giant clam. This is another Ripley's character, Rodney Fox, famous for getting bit by a shark, real bad. There is a flesh-eating piranha, a flying fish, and a Siamese starfish. You can see it growing extra legs there. And here's the 25-carat car covered in 10,000 English pennies. It's a junk art fiddle player there. Almost looks a little bit like Hunter S. Thompson. All right, we'll just go into the men's room since we need to use the bathroom. Oh no, the man peeing in here. I better leave him alone while he's peeing in the bathroom. Doing okay with your peeing? Sorry for interrupting your peeing. Remember earlier when we were making tongue motions in the mirror here, little did we know it was a one-sided mirror and people were mocking us from the other side. All right, heading out. Believe it or not, this is the exit. I believe it. While we're here on the boardwalk, we'll also give Ripley's Mirror Maze a try. Mirror Maze etiquette dictates that we have to wear these plastic gloves so that our fingerprints won't smush up all the mirrors and make them all gross and weird. All right, and in to the maze. Oh, what's this? We actually have some additional Ripley's exhibits here in the maze. I've not seen this before in a mirror maze. There's a swordfish sword. There they use the nose of swordfish as a weapon. There's a shark tooth weapon. Interesting. Was not expecting the exhibit to extend into the mirror maze. This is the trick with getting out of a mirror maze. I've made it back to the entrance, so that didn't work. I'm gonna, I guess you gotta look, you gotta make sure that you don't run into the mirrors. You see your reflection. What is that? All right, it's actually a rotating doorway here. And look at that, there is I don't know, oh, I'm looking at the reflection of this the seashell ladies. Lady made entirely of seashells. You know, I really love this addition to the mirror maze. Normally it's just mirrors. I like that they've added some cool exhibits in here. But back through the rotating room here. Oh, emergency exit. I don't know, has this raised the level of emergency yet? I think not. We'll try to find our own way out here. Oh, okay. You see there? I see there's another exhibit over there. But I guess that can actually be deceptive as well, because you don't know where the exhibit is. Okay, there we go. That's a turtle made out of rolled paper and the replica of the Pearl of La Sioux. When you actually use the exhibits as a reference point, normally you wouldn't have the advantage of being able to do that. So yeah, in this particular mirror maze, I think the best strategy would just be to follow the exhibits. You got some shark jaws here. All right, that's another emergency exit. Still not an emergency, although it's starting to get a little closer to being one. All right, we made it.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining me here in Ocean City, Maryland, as we check back in with the local Ripley's. And the mirror maze here is a little different. I've been into other Ripley's mirror mazes. Usually it's just mirrors, so they've actually added a few exhibits in the mirror maze, which I think is a pretty cool addition. If you'd like to see other videos like this, consider checking out some of the older videos on my channel. I've been to the 48 continental United States filming roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider donating to Patreon. $3 or more will get your postcard once a month. I'm also selling 3 different styles of enamel pins in the Etsy shop. All that just helps keep this train on the tracks, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, this one's in the bag.